Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started beeping. He looked at his cup and sighed. Every time something interesting happened, it was always during coffee time. "Captain, we have incoming signals," said Amy Foster from her communication station. Her voice was excited. "It's big, sir. Really big." Jake walked to the bridge of the Liberty Bell. Through the main window, he could see nothing but stars and space. Then his navigator, Lisa Park, pointed to the radar screen. "Look at this," Lisa said. 20 ships, maybe more. They're huge." The ships appeared slowly, like ghosts becoming real. They were black and covered with spikes. Red lights blinked along their sides. They looked like something from a horror movie. "They are trying to talk to us," Amy said. She was frowning at her equipment. "The signal is very strong." "Put them on screen," Jake said. The main screen flickered. A face appeared. It was not human. The creature had purple skin and yellow eyes. It wore a helmet with sharp points. Behind it, Jake could see other similar creatures moving around. "I am High Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Galactic Empire," the creature said. Its voice was deep and scary. "You will surrender your ship immediately. You will give us your technology. You will become our slaves." Jake almost choked on his coffee. He looked around the bridge. Tony Garcia, the engineer, was covering his mouth with his hand. Lisa was biting her lip. Amy was shaking. But she was not shaking with fear. She was shaking because she was trying not to laugh. Did he just say we had to become slaves? Tony whispered. "Silence!" The alien commander shouted. "You will show respect to the mighty Zephyrian Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. We have destroyed countless civilizations. Your pathetic ship cannot resist our power." That was when Jake lost it. He started laughing. It was not a small laugh. It was a big, loud laugh that filled the bridge. "I'm sorry," Jake said, wiping tear from his eyes. "I'm really sorry. It's just, did you practice that speech? Because it sounds like something from a bad movie." The alien commander's yellow eyes got bigger. "You dare mock the Zephyrian Empire." "We're not mocking you," Jake said, still smiling. "It's just funny. I mean, look at your ships. They have spikes everywhere. And those red lights. Did someone tell you that scary things need red lights?" Tony was now laughing so hard he had to sit down. "Captain, look at his helmet. It has little skulls on it." "Those are not little skulls," the commander said angrily. "They are the death marks of our enemies." "They look like little plastic skulls from a toy store," Lisa said. She was not even trying to hide her smile now. Dr. Kate Williams, the ship's doctor, walked onto the bridge. She took one look at the screen and immediately started giggling. "Oh my," she said. "Are you having a costume party?" "We are the terror of the galaxy," the commander shouted. "Species tremble when they hear our name." "I'm sure they do," Jake said kindly. "But we don't really do the trembling thing. How about we talk instead? Maybe over some coffee." "Coffee?" The commander looked confused. "It's a drink," Jake explained. "We like to drink it when we meet new people. Much better than all this shouting and threatening." The alien commander looked at something off screen. Jake could hear other voices talking in a strange language. They sounded worried. "You do not understand," the commander said. "We are offering you the chance to surrender with honor. If you refuse, we will take your ship by force." "That doesn't sound very friendly," Amy said. "Why would you want to take our ship? We just got it painted." "We require your technology for the glory of the Empire," the commander said. "What technology?" Tony asked. "We're just an exploration ship. We look at rocks and take pictures of stars." "You have faster than light travel," the commander said. "So do you," Jake pointed out. "Your ships are right here." The commander was quiet for a moment. "You have weapons." "We have some basic defense systems," Jake said. "But mostly we just run away if something tries to hurt us." Dr. Williams was still giggling. "I'm sorry, but I have to ask. Do you always wear that much black leather? It must be very hot." "It is the armor of command," the commander said stiffly. "It looks uncomfortable," she said. "And those shoulder pads are enormous. How do you fit through doors?" The bridge crew was now all smiling. Even the normally serious Lisa was grinning. The alien commander looked more and more frustrated. "You will take this seriously," he demanded. "We are your conquerors." "You seem nice enough," Jake said, "but we're really not interested in being conquered today. How about tomorrow? We might be free then." The commander made a noise that sounded like an angry cat. The screen went black. "Well," Jake said, finishing his coffee, "that was interesting. Should we call headquarters?" Amy asked. "Probably," Jake said. "But first, let's see if they want to come back and try again. I think they need more practice." Outside the windows, the black ships just floated in space, their red lights blinking like confused Christmas decorations. 3 days passed before more human ships arrived. Admiral Susan Clark came with 5 vessels from Earth Command. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She did not look like someone who could scare anyone. "Captain Morrison," she said over the radio, "I hear you made some new friends." "They're interesting," Jake replied. "Very dramatic. They really like the color black." Admiral Clark's ship, the Washington, moved close to the Liberty Bell. Through the windows, they could see the alien ship still waiting. The red lights were still blinking. They'd been sitting there for 3 days, Lisa Park told the Admiral when she came aboard. Just floating and blinking. "Have they said anything?" Admiral Clark asked. "They keep sending the same message," Amy Foster said. "Something about preparing for doom." "Well," Admiral Clark said, "I suppose we should talk to them properly. This is first contact, after all." The Admiral brought her own team. There was Ben Rodriguez, who spoke many languages. Rachel Stone knew about money and trade. Dr. Paul Carter studied alien cultures. They all seemed very serious and professional. The aliens were happy when Admiral Clark called them. High Commander Vextar appeared on screen again. This time he was not alone. Next to him stood another alien wearing even more decorations. "I am Minister Korath the Terrible," the new alien said. His voice was deeper than the commander's. "I speak for the mighty Emperor. You will listen to the sacred words of conquest." "We're listening," Admiral Clark said politely. Minister Korath lifted a large scroll. It was covered in strange writing and had ribbons hanging from it. On his head sat what looked like a metal hat covered in shiny balls. "Is that a disco ball?" Tony Garcia whispered to Dr. Williams. "I think it's supposed to be jewels," she whispered back. "It looks like a disco ball," Tony said. Minister Korath began to read from the scroll. His voice got louder and louder. He talked about the glory of the Empire. He talked about the strength of their armies. He talked about how resistance was useless. Ben Rodriguez was trying very hard to look serious. His job was to translate, but the aliens were speaking English. He kept making small choking sounds. "Are you all right?" Admiral Clark asked him quietly. "I'm fine," Ben said, but his voice was shaky. "It's just, he's reading a poem about crushing enemies. It rhymes." Rachel Stone was looking at her tablet. She was supposed to take notes about alien society, but she kept glancing at Minister Korath's hat and smiling. "The Empire demands tribute," Minister Korath continued. "You will give us your gold. You will give us your food. You will give us your strongest warriors." "We don't really have warriors," Admiral Clark said. "We have scientists and teachers and farmers." "Then you will give us your scientists," the minister said. "They probably won't want to go," Admiral Clark said. "They like their jobs." Minister Korath looked confused. "They have no choice. They are conquered." "But we haven't been conquered," Admiral Clark pointed out. "We're just talking." "The talking is a formality," High Commander Vextar said. "Surrender is inevitable." Ben Rodriguez made another choking sound. This time it was louder. Everyone looked at him. "Sorry," he said. Did he just say surrender is inevitable? That's from a movie." "What movie?" Dr. Carter asked. "Star Wars," Ben said. "Well, sort of." That was when Ben Rodriguez lost control. He made a sound that was half laugh and half snort. It was very loud. The sound made Tony Garcia start laughing. Tony's laugh made Dr. Williams giggle. Dr. Williams' giggle made Lisa Park smile. Lisa's smile made Amy Foster grin. Within seconds, the entire human team was laughing. Not mean laughter, but the kind that happens when something is so silly you cannot help yourself. Admiral Clark tried to keep a straight face. She really did. But when Minister Korath puffed up his chest and declared himself the bringer of sorrow, she cracked a smile. "I'm sorry," she said to the aliens. "We're not laughing at you." "Well, not exactly. It's just, do you really call yourself the bringer of sorrow?" "It is a title of great honor," Minister Korath said stiffly. "It sounds like a job at a funeral home," Rachel Stone said. She was wiping tears from her eyes. The aliens looked at each other. They spoke in their own language. They sounded upset. "Perhaps," Admiral Clark said, "we could discuss this differently. Instead of conquest, how about trade? We could exchange goods, technology, ideas." "We do not trade with inferiors," High Commander Vextar said. "We're not inferior," Rachel Stone said. She was back to being professional. "Look, I've done some calculations. If you trade with us instead of fighting, you could make much more profit." She showed them her tablet. It had charts and numbers. "Profit?" Minister Korath asked. "Money," Rachel explained. "Resources, things you need." "We take what we need," the commander said. "That's very inefficient," Rachel said. "Taking things makes people angry. Angry people fight back. Fighting costs money." The aliens stared at her charts. They whispered to each other again. "This is ridiculous," Minister Korath finally said. "You should be trembling with fear. You should be begging for mercy." "Why?" Admiral Clark asked. "You seem like reasonable people. Different from us, but reasonable." "We are not people," High Commander Vextar said. "We are the terror of space." "You're definitely people," Dr. Carter said kindly. "You have language, culture, art. Those decorations on your uniforms are actually quite beautiful." Minister Korath looked down at his uniform. "They are symbols of power." "They are also very pretty," Dr. Carter said. "The metalwork is excellent." The minister looked confused again. No one had ever called his terror symbols pretty. "This conversation is over," High Commander Vextar announced. "You are impossible to understand. We will return when you have learned proper fear." The screen went black. "Well," Admiral Clark said, "that could have gone better." "They'll be back," Jake Morrison said. "They seem like the type who don't give up easily." "Should we be worried?" Ben Rodriguez asked. "Not really," Admiral Clark said. "They are more confused and dangerous. Besides, did you see their ships? All show, no substance." Outside, the alien ships moved away, but they did not go far. They just waited in the distance, their red lights still blinking like confused Christmas trees. High Commander Vextar was angry. For 2 weeks, he had tried to make the humans afraid. Nothing worked. They just kept smiling and offering coffee. "Enough," he said to his officers. "We will show them our true power. Then they will understand." He sent a message to Captain Morrison. "Human vessel, we challenge you to a demonstration of military strength. Prepare to witness the might of the Zephyrian Empire." Jake Morrison was eating lunch when the message came. He was having a sandwich and reading a book about fishing. "Another challenge," he said to Amy Foster. "What kind this time?" "They want to show off their weapons," Amy said. "Big scary demonstration." "That sounds fun," Jake said. "Should we accept?" "Admiral Clark says yes," Amy replied. "She's curious about their technology." "All right then," Jake said. "Tell them we accept. Ask them to pick a nice spot with good lighting. I want to get pictures." The alien chose a place near a small star system. There was some asteroid floating around, but nothing important. Perfect for a demonstration. The human fleet arrived first. Admiral Clark brought the Washington and 4 other ships. Captain Morrison came with the Liberty Bell. But the most interesting ship was the Happy Camper. The Happy Camper looked like a flying box. It was gray and boring. No weapons could be seen on the outside. It carried supplies and equipment for building space stations. Lieutenant Commander Steve Johnson was a captain. He was a quiet man who liked to fix things. His crew was small, just 12 people. Most of them were engineers. "This is our demonstration ship." Admiral Clark asked over the radio. It's what we have available, Steve said. Don't worry. It has some interesting features. The alien fleet arrived an hour later. Their flagship was enormous. It was 3 times bigger than any human ship. Black metal covered in spikes. Red lights everywhere. Scary symbols painted on the sides. I am High Commander Vextar aboard the Doombringer of Eternal Night, came the radio message. Prepare to witness destruction. Nice name, Steve Johnson said calmly. Very dramatic. Did you paint it yourself? What? Vextar sounded confused. The ship name, Steve said. It's painted very neatly on the side. There was silence from the alien ship. Enough talk, Vextar finally said. Watch as we demonstrate our power. The Doombringer of Eternal Night moved forward. Weapon ports opened along its sides. Energy began to glow inside the openings. The ship targeted a large asteroid. Witness the fury of our quantum disruptors, Vextar announced. Bright beams shot from the alien ship. They hit the asteroid and it exploded into pieces. The explosion was very bright and colorful. Very nice, Steve Johnson said. Good light show. Our Tane. Your pathetic cargo vessel thinks it can match our firepower. Vextar laughed. Show us your weakness. Well, Steve said, we don't really have weapons, but we do have some tools. Would you like to see a little trick we learned? Do your worst, Vextar said. Steve turned to his crew. Jenny, power up the gravity manipulators. Mike, target their ship center of mass. Linda, start the rotation sequence. What are you doing? Admiral Clark asked. Just a little demonstration, Steve said. Nothing harmful. The happy camper moved closer to the alien flagship. It looked like a tiny mouse approaching a giant cat. Is that all? Vextar said. One small ship. That's all we need, Steve said. He pressed a button. Engaging gravitational field. Something strange happened to the Doombringer of Eternal Night. It started to move sideways, not by its own power, but as if something was pulling it. What is happening? Vextar demanded. Physics, Steve said cheerfully. We're borrowing a trick from black holes. Don't worry, it's perfectly safe. The huge alien ship began to spin slowly around a nearby asteroid. The asteroid was small, but the human ship was making it act like it weighed as much as a planet. We are spinning, one of the alien voices said. Commander, we are spinning. I can see that, Vextar said. His voice sounded sick. Make it stop, another alien voice said. I do not feel well. The Doombringer of Eternal Night was now spinning faster. It orbited the asteroid like a moon. Through the windows, the alien crew could see stars spinning past. Please, Vextar said. His proud voice was now weak. Please make it stop. Of course, Steve said. Sorry about that. Sometimes we forget that spinning makes people sick. The alien ship stopped spinning and drifted free. There was silence for several minutes. Are you all right over there? Dr. Williams asked from the Liberty Bell. We are recovering, Vextar said weakly. Motion sickness is normal, Dr. Williams said kindly. Try to look at something that isn't moving. Take deep breaths. How did you do that? Vextar asked. Gravity manipulation, Steve explained. We use it for moving heavy cargo and building space stations. Very handy for construction work. You turned our mighty warship into a carnival ride, Vextar said. That wasn't the plan, Steve said. We were just demonstrating the technology. Sorry if it was uncomfortable. Uncomfortable, one of the alien voices said. I have never been so dizzy in my life. Next time we'll go slower, Steve promised. There was another long silence from the alien ship. You did that with a cargo vessel, Vextar said finally. It's a very good cargo vessel, Steve said proudly. Built it myself, mostly. What could your warships do? We don't really have warships, Admiral Clark said. We prefer exploration and research vessels. But if you did have warships, well, Admiral Clark said thoughtfully, they would probably have bigger gravity manipulators. The alien fleet began to move away slowly. The Doombringer of Eternal Night wobbled slightly as it flew. "Commander!" Jake Morrison called. "Do you need any help? We have medicine for motion sickness." "We are fine," Vextar said, but his voice still sounded queasy. "We will return to our fleet." "Take care," Admiral Clark said. "And remember, ginger tea helps with nausea." After the aliens left, the human ships gathered together. "That went well," Steve Johnson said, "though I feel bad about making them sick." "They'll recover," Dr. Williams said, "but I don't think they'll challenge us to any more demonstrations." "Probably not," Admiral Clark agreed. "I think we made our point." In the distance, the alien fleet was barely visible, but even from far away, the humans could see that the ships were flying very carefully and very slowly. High Commander Vextar was worried. His ship had been spinning for 3 days now, but not because of human technology. The crew was still dizzy from the demonstration. Even worse, the Emperor was asking questions. "Perhaps," Minister Korra suggested, "we should study these humans more carefully." "Study them?" Vextar asked. "They are clearly more dangerous than they appear," Korra said. "We need to understand their weaknesses." So the aliens sent their best cultural expert. Lady Nethys the Enlightened was supposed to be the smartest alien in the fleet. She studied other species before they were conquered. She always found their weak points. "I will learn their secrets," Lady Nethys told the commanders. "Every species has fears. I will find theirs." The humans were happy to welcome her. Captain Maria Santos of the research vessel Discovery Point invited Lady Nethys aboard as their guest. "Welcome to our ship," Captain Santos said when Lady Nethys arrived. "We're excited to meet you." Lady Nethys looked around suspiciously. The human ship was bright and clean. People were walking around freely. No one looked scared. "Where are your guards?" Lady Nethys asked. "Guards?" Captain Santos looked confused. "We don't need guards. Everyone here is friendly." "But how do you maintain order?" "People just do their jobs," Captain Santos said. "It's not complicated." Danny Kim, the cultural officer, showed Lady Nethys to her room. It was comfortable, with a soft bed and a window looking out at the stars. "This is very nice," Lady Nethys said. "What must I do to earn it?" "Nothing," Danny said. "You're our guest. Guests get comfortable rooms." "I must perform some service," Lady Nethys insisted. "Clean something. Fight someone. Solve a puzzle." "You don't have to do anything," Danny said kindly. "Just relax and enjoy your stay." Lady Nethys sat on the bed. She had never been given something for nothing before. In Zephyrian culture, everything had a price. Someone always had to pay. At dinner time, the cook brought her a tray of food. It smelled wonderful. "What is the cost?" Lady Nethys asked. "No cost," the cook said. "Everyone gets dinner. That's how ships work." The food was delicious. Lady Nethys had never tasted anything so good. On Zephyrian ships, only the commanders got good food. Regular crew members ate basic rations. Danny Kim came to visit after dinner. He brought something called a tablet computer. "Would you like to watch some human entertainment?" he asked. "Entertainment?" Lady Nethys had heard the word but never experienced it. "Movies," Danny explained. "Stories with pictures and sound. They are fun." He showed her a comedy movie. It was about humans who got into silly situations and made jokes. Lady Nethys watched with wide eyes. "Why are they laughing?" she asked. "Because funny things are happening," Danny said, "but no one is being hurt or defeated." "That's right," Danny said. "Comedy is about happiness, not pain." Lady Nethys watched 3 more movies that night. Each one was different, but they all made her feel strange. Light. Happy. She had never felt this way before. Meanwhile, Dr. Nina Wells was visiting the alien flagship. She was an anthropologist who studied different cultures. The aliens had agreed to let her observe their society. The Zephyrian ship was very different from human vessels. Everything was dark. The corridors were narrow. Crew members walked quickly with their heads down. "Why does everyone look so serious?" Dr. Wells asked High Commander Vextar. "Seriousness shows respect," Vextar explained. "Laughter is weakness." "That sounds exhausting," Dr. Wells said. She watched the alien crew work. They were efficient but nervous. Everyone seemed afraid of making mistakes. Officers shouted orders. Crew members flinched when spoken to. "Don't you ever relax?" Dr. Wells asked a young alien engineer. The engineer looked terrified. "Relaxation is forbidden during duty hours," he whispered. "What about after work?" "There is no after work," the engineer said. "There is only duty." Dr. Wells felt sad. These aliens were clearly intelligent and capable, but they lived in constant fear. No wonder they thought other species should be afraid too. Back on the Discovery Point, Lady Nethys was having a very different experience. Engineer Pete Chong found her looking at a broken communication device. "I can fix this," she said. "That would be great," Pete said. "Thank you." Lady Nethys worked on the device for an hour. When she finished, it worked perfectly. "Excellent job," Pete said. "You're really skilled." "What is my reward?" Lady Nethys asked. "Reward?" Pete looked confused. "You helped us. That's reward enough. But I must receive something for my work." "You already did," Pete said. "You received our gratitude, and you learned something new about human technology." Lady Nethys thought about this. On Zephyrian ships, work was always rewarded with food or privileges, but Pete seemed genuinely happy that she had helped. His smile was worth more than any reward she had ever received. That night, Captain Santos invited Lady Nethys to join the crew for a birthday party. Chief Engineer Lisa Gardner was turning 40. "What is a birthday party?" Lady Nethys asked. "We celebrate the day someone was born," Captain Santos explained. "We give gifts and eat cake." "Why do you give gifts?" "Because we're like each other," Captain Santos said simply. The party was unlike anything Lady Nethys had ever seen. Humans laughed and told stories. They gave Chief Gardner presents just because they wanted to make her happy. Someone played music. People danced. "This is beautiful," Lady Nethys whispered to Danny Kim. "What is?" Danny asked. "All of this. The happiness. The kindness. No one is afraid." "Why would we be afraid?" Danny asked. "We're with friends." Lady Nethys started to cry. Not from sadness, but from something else. Something she had never felt before. "Are you all right?" Captain Santos asked. "I think," Lady Nethys said slowly, "I'm experiencing joy." The human smiled and made room for her at their table. For the first time in her life, Lady Nethys felt like she belonged somewhere. On the alien flagship, Dr. Wells was writing notes about what she had observed. The Zephyrian Empire was built on fear and control. Everyone was afraid of everyone else. No one trusted anyone. "It's so sad," she wrote in her report. "They are powerful, but they're not happy. They've forgotten how to enjoy life." She decided to do something about it. Tomorrow, she would ask High Commander Vextar if he wanted to learn about human culture. Maybe it was time for the aliens to discover what they had been missing. Back on the Discovery Point, Lady Nethys was learning to play human games with the crew. She was laughing at jokes and sharing stories about her homeworld. For the first time in her life, she felt free. The cultural exchange was working, but not in the way anyone expected. The reports reached Emperor Zaelthek on his throne ship 3 days later. He was a massive alien, twice the size of his commanders. His armor was covered in gold and black jewels. His throne was made from the bones of defeated enemies. Read the reports again. The Emperor commanded. Minister Korath cleared his throat. Lady Nethys reports that humans show no fear. They give gifts without reason. They share food freely. They celebrate for no purpose. And High Commander Vextar's report. The humans turn our flagship into a spinning toy using a cargo vessel, Korath said quietly. Emperor Zaelthek was quiet for a long time. Around his throne, dozens of advisors waited nervously. "These humans are clearly master warriors," the Emperor finally said. "Master warriors." Minister Korath looked confused. "Think about it," the Emperor said. "They show no fear because they are supremely confident. They laugh at our threats because they know they can destroy us easily." The advisors nodded. This made sense to them. "Their laughter is psychological warfare," the Emperor continued. "They make us feel foolish before they attack. Very clever." "And the gifts?" asked General Morgath, the Emperor's military advisor. Obviously a show of wealth, the Emperor said. They give away valuable items to prove how rich and powerful they are. The alien leaders looked at each other. Everything was starting to make sense. Should we retreat? General Morgath asked. No, Emperor Zaelthek said, standing up. If they are truly powerful, then they deserve to face me personally. Prepare the Imperial Armada. We go to meet these humans ourselves. Back in human space, Admiral Clark was having a barbecue. The observation deck of her flagship constellation had been turned into a party area. Crew members were cooking food and playing music. Some children from the colony ships were running around playing games. Admiral, Communications Officer Troy Washington called out, "We have incoming ships. A lot of them." "How many?" Admiral Clark asked. She was flipping hamburgers on a grill. 50, maybe 60, Troy said, and one really big one in the center. Well, Admiral Clark said, I suppose we should say hello. But first, does anyone want another burger? The Imperial Armada arrived in formation. The ships were even bigger and scarier than before. The flagship in the center was enormous. It looked like a floating cathedral made of black metal and sharp points. I am Emperor Zaelthek, ruler of the Zephian Empire, came the radio message. The voice was deep and commanding. I have come to face the legendary human warriors. Admiral Clark wiped her hands on her apron. Hello, Emperor. I'm Admiral Clark. Would you like to join us for lunch? There was silence from the alien ship. I said I have come to face your warriors, the Emperor repeated. We heard you, Admiral Clark said. But we're having a barbecue. Food tastes better when it's shared. Through the constellation's windows, the aliens could see humans eating and laughing. Children were playing with toy spaceships. Someone was playing a guitar. Where are your weapons? Emperor Zaelthek demanded. We have some, Admiral Clark said, but we don't usually bring weapons to lunch. It's considered rude. This is impossible, the Emperor said. You cannot be this calm. Why not? Admiral Clark asked. It's a beautiful day. Well, beautiful space. You know what I mean. The Emperor was getting frustrated. I challenge your greatest warrior to single combat. Single combat? Admiral Clark thought about this. That sounds violent. How about a game instead? A game? Chess, Admiral Clark said. It's a strategy game, much more civilized than fighting. The Emperor looked at his advisors. They whispered among themselves. Very well, the Emperor said. If your champion defeats me in this chess, I will consider your terms. Great, Admiral Clark said. I'll play you myself. You? The Emperor sounded surprised. I'm pretty good at chess, Admiral Clark said. My grandchildren taught me some new tricks. An hour later, the Emperor's shuttle arrived at the constellation. Emperor Zaelthek was even bigger in person. His armor clanked when he walked. His helmet had glowing red eyes. The human crew greeted him politely. Someone offered him a sandwich. Another person asked if he wanted something to drink. This is very strange, the Emperor said to Admiral Clark. Your people show me no fear. Should we be afraid? Admiral Clark asked. You seem nice enough. I am the terror of the galaxy, the Emperor said. You're also someone's child, Admiral Clark said kindly. Everyone is someone's child. The chess game was set up in the ship's recreation room. The Emperor sat across from Admiral Clark. He looked huge next to the small human woman. Begin, the Emperor commanded. Admiral Clark moved her first piece. Pawn to e4. Classic opening. The Emperor studied the board carefully. He moved his piece. Knight to f6. Interesting choice, Admiral Clark said. She moved again quickly. The game continued. The Emperor played slowly and carefully. He tried to use intimidation tactics, glaring at Admiral Clark and making threatening comments. Admiral Clark just smiled and made her moves. She chatted about her grandchildren and asked the Emperor about his home planet. You are not taking this seriously, the Emperor said. I am, Admiral Clark said. But chess is supposed to be fun. Fun? The Emperor had never heard this word applied to combat. It's a game, Admiral Clark explained. Games are meant to be enjoyed. After 12 moves, Admiral Clark said, "Checkmate." The Emperor stared at the board. His king was trapped. He had lost. "How?" he asked. "You were thinking too much about attacking," Admiral Clark said. "You forgot to protect your pieces." "But I am a master strategist," the Emperor said. "I have conquered worlds." "I'm sure you have," Admiral Clark said. "But conquering is different from chess. In chess, you have to think about what your opponent wants, not just what you want." The Emperor was quiet for a long time. Around him, human crew members were going about their daily work. No one seemed impressed that the Admiral had just defeated the ruler of a galactic empire. "Your people are strange," the Emperor said finally. "How so?" Admiral Clark asked. "You defeated me, but you show no triumph. You do not gloat or demand tribute." "Why would I?" Admiral Clark said. "It was just a game. Besides, you played well for someone who's never played chess before." Communications Officer Troy Washington approached their table. "Admiral, we're getting reports from other ships. Some of the alien crew members are asking about our movies." "Movies?" the Emperor asked. "Entertainment," Admiral Clark explained. "Stories told with pictures and sound. Would you like to see one?" "I suppose," the Emperor said uncertainly. Troy put on a comedy movie. It was about a group of friends going on a camping trip. Everything went wrong, but they laughed about it and helped each other. The Emperor watched in silence. Halfway through the movie, he asked, "Why do they laugh when bad things happen?" "Because they're together," Admiral Clark said. "When you have friends, problems become adventures." Friends. The Emperor repeated the word like he was learning a new language. "People who care about you," Admiral Clark explained. "People who help you and enjoy your company." The Emperor thought about this. Dr. Nina Wells finished her report 3 weeks after visiting the alien flagship. She had spent days writing and rewriting it. The truth about the Zephyrian Empire was hard to believe. "Admiral Clark," she said, handing over her tablet, "you need to read this." Admiral Clark sat in her office aboard the Constellation. Outside the window, she could see both human and alien ships floating peacefully together. Some alien crew members had started visiting human vessels to watch movies. "What did you find?" Admiral Clark asked. "The Zephyrian Empire isn't what we thought," Dr. Wells said. "They are not militarily superior. They are just very good at scaring people." Admiral Clark read the report carefully. Her eyebrows rose higher with each page. "Most of their conquered species never fought back," Dr. Wells explained. "They took one look at those scary ships and surrendered immediately. So they built their entire empire on fear." "Exactly," Dr. Wells said. "They show up, look threatening, and most species just give up. It's worked for thousands of years." "Until they met us," Admiral Clark said. "We're apparently the first species that laughed at them instead of running away." Meanwhile, engineer Linda Palmer was studying pieces of Zephyrian technology that the aliens had shared. She was working in the Liberty Bell's laboratory with Captain Morrison watching. "This is fascinating," Linda said, holding up a small device. "Their weapons look scary, but they're actually quite simple." "Simple how?" Jake Morrison asked. "Look at this energy disruptor," Linda said, pointing to a larger piece of equipment. "It makes big explosions and lots of light, but it uses 10 times more power than it needs to. So it's inefficient." "Very inefficient," Linda said. She was trying not to giggle. "It's like they designed everything to look impressive rather than work well." She showed Jake her analysis on the computer screen. Charts and numbers filled the display. "Their ships are huge because they have so much extra equipment," Linda explained. "Backup systems for backup systems. Decorative weapon arrays that don't actually work. It's all for show." "What about their armor and defenses?" "Heavy but weak," Linda said. "Those spikes and scary decorations actually make the ships less stable. And all that black paint absorbs heat, so their ships get very hot inside." Jake started laughing. "You mean they made their ships uncomfortable just to look scary?" "Pretty much," Linda said. "I feel sorry for their crews." On the Discovery Point, Captain Maria Santos was organizing a joint training exercise. Human and alien crew members would work together on emergency procedures. Are you sure about this? Lady Nethys asked. She had been staying with the humans for 2 weeks now. It will be fine, Captain Santos said. Your people are smart. They just need to learn new ways of doing things. The exercise began in the ship's cargo bay. Commander Alan Torres was teaching Zephyrian pilots how to dock their shuttles more efficiently. The key is gentle pressure, Alan explained to a young alien pilot named Kickstar. Don't force it. Let the ship guide itself into position. Kickstar tried the technique. His first attempt was too aggressive, typical of Zephyrian methods. The shuttle bumped hard against the docking port. Try again, Alan said patiently. Think of it like landing on water, not crashing into rock. The second attempt was much better. The shuttle slid smoothly into place. Excellent, Alan said. You're natural. Kickstar looked surprised. You are not angry that I failed the first time. Failed? Alan looked confused. You didn't fail. You learned. But in the Zephyrian fleet, mistakes are punished. Hey, mistakes are how we get better, Alan said. Everyone makes mistakes. The important thing is learning from them. Other alien crew members were watching this exchange. They had never seen an officer praise someone for improving instead of punishing them for initial errors. Back on the Constellation, Admiral Clark was meeting with Chief Gardner and her engineering team. They had been studying the social structure of the Zephyrian Empire. It's actually quite sad, Chief Gardner said. Their whole society is based on fear and control. How so? Admiral Clark asked. Everyone is afraid of everyone else, Chief Gardner explained. Lower ranks fear higher ranks. Higher ranks fear losing their positions. Even the Emperor is afraid. What is the Emperor afraid of? His own people, Chief Gardner said. If he shows any weakness, someone might try to take his throne. Dr. Wells nodded. That's why they can't understand us. We're not afraid, so their whole system doesn't work. Admiral Clark thought about this. What happens to their empire if people stop being afraid? It probably falls apart, Dr. Wells said. Fear is the only thing holding it together. On the alien flagship, Emperor Zaelthek was having similar thoughts. He had been watching report from his crews who visited human ships. They came back different. Happier. Less afraid. My lord, General Morgath said, entering the throne room. Some of our junior officers are requesting permission to learn human games. Games? The Emperor asked. They say the humans have something called fun, General Morgath said. Our crew members want to experience it. The Emperor was quiet for a moment. What is fun? I do not know, my lord. Find out, the Emperor ordered. Discreetly. That evening, Lady Nethys was teaching human children about Zephyrian music. The aliens had beautiful songs, but they were all about conquest and victory. Can you teach us a happy song? Asked a little girl named Emma. Happy song. Lady Nethys thought about this. We do not have happy songs. Why not? Emma asked. We were not happy, Lady Nethys said quietly. You weren't happy. Emma looked very sad. That's terrible. It is a way of our people, Lady Nethys explained. But you're happy now, Emma said. I can tell. Lady Nethys realized the little girl was right. She was happy now. For the first time in her life, she was truly happy. Yes, she said, smiling. I am happy now. Then maybe you can make a new song, Emma suggested. A happy Zephyrian song. That night, Lady Nethys sat in her room and tried to write a song about happiness. It was harder than she expected. She had no words in her language for many human concepts. Joy, friendship, peace. But she tried anyway. On the bridge of the Liberty Bell, Captain Morrison was talking to Amy Foster about the day's events. The aliens are changing, Amy said. They are becoming more like us. Is that good or bad? Jake asked. I think it's good, Amy said. They seem happier. Jake nodded. Through the bridge windows, he could see alien and human ships side by side. Some alien crews were visiting human vessels to share meals. Some humans were visiting alien ships to learn about their technology. You know what I think? Jake said, What? I think we accidentally made friends with the Galactic Empire. Amy laughed. Could be worse. How? They could still be trying to conquer us. Jake smiled. Good point. In the distance, the two fleets floated together in space. The red warning lights on the alien ships had been turned off. For the first time in centuries, the Zephyrian Empire was not at war with anyone, and everyone was getting used to the strange new feeling of peace. Emperor Zaelthek stood alone in his private chambers. The room was dark and cold, like everything else on his ship. But tonight, he did not like the darkness. Tonight, he wished for light. Through his window, he could see the human ships. They glowed with warm lights. He could see people moving around inside, talking and laughing. He had never noticed how lonely his own ship felt. A soft knock came at his door. "Enter," he said. General Morgath came in, but he looked different. His armor was less polished. His expression was softer. "My lord," General Morgath said quietly, "I have learned about fun." "Tell me," the Emperor said. "It is joy without purpose," the general said slowly. "Happiness shared with others. It makes people want to work together instead of fear each other." The Emperor sat heavily in his chair. "I have been thinking, General, about what Admiral Clark said." "What did she say, my lord?" "She said that when people are not afraid, they are free to be creative and generous." The Emperor paused. What if she is right? The next morning, the Emperor made a decision that shocked his entire fleet. He called Admiral Clark personally. "Admiral," he said when she answered, "I wish to speak with you. Privately." "Of course," Admiral Clark said. "Would you like to come here, or should I visit your ship?" "I will come to you," the Emperor said, "if that is acceptable." An hour later, Emperor Zaelthek shuttle docked with the Constellation. He came alone, without his guards or advisors. The human crew greeted him politely but without fear. Admiral Clark met him in her office. She had prepared tea and cookies. "Please, sit," she said, gesturing to a comfortable chair. The Emperor sat carefully. His armor made small clinking sounds. "Admiral Clark," he said slowly, "I need to ask you something." "Ask away." "How do your people become so confident, so peaceful?" Admiral Clark poured tea for both of them. "We learned that fear makes people do foolish things. When you're not afraid, you can think clearly. But without fear, how do you maintain order?" "We don't need to maintain order," Admiral Clark said. "People choose to cooperate because it makes life better for everyone." The Emperor drank his tea. It was warm and sweet, unlike anything served on his ship. "My empire is built on fear," he said quietly. "If people stop being afraid, what happens to me?" "Maybe," Admiral Clark said gently, "you become something better than an emperor." "What could be better?" "A friend," Admiral Clark said simply. The Emperor was quiet for a long time. Then, to Admiral Clark's surprise, his eyes began to water. "I have never had a friend," he whispered. "Well," Admiral Clark said, "you have one now, if you want." 3 days later, the Emperor made an announcement that changed galactic history. "Citizens of the Zephyrian Empire," he said, broadcasting to every ship and planet in his domain, "I hereby dissolve the Empire as it has existed. From this day forward, we will no longer rule through fear. We will ask to join the human alliance as partners, not conquerors." The reaction was immediate and surprising. Across the galaxy, conquered worlds celebrated. Many species had been waiting centuries for this moment. But the greatest celebration was aboard the human ships. Captain Morrison organized the biggest party the Liberty Bell had ever seen. Crew members from dozens of ships, both human and alien, crowded into the cargo bay. "Ladies and gentlemen," Jake announced, "I present Emperor Zaelthek, our newest friend." The Emperor entered wearing something no one expected. Instead of his black armor, he wore a bright Hawaiian shirt that Admiral Clark had given him. It was covered with pictures of palm trees and surfboards. The crowd cheered. Alien crew members who had spent their lives in fear were now laughing and dancing with humans. Human diplomat Kevin Brooks stood up to make an announcement. "Tomorrow," he said, "we begin construction of the first joint human-Zephyrian colony. It will be called New Harmony, and it will be a place where both our peoples can live and work together. Lady Nethys, who had become the alien ambassador to humanity, raised her glass. To new beginnings, she said. To friendship, Admiral Clark added. To fun, said Emperor Zaelthek, and everyone laughed. 6 months later, the first Galactic Friendship Festival was held on New Harmony. The planet was beautiful, with blue oceans and green forests. Cities were being built where humans and aliens worked side by side. The festival was everything the humans had hoped for. There were games, music, food, and art from dozens of different worlds. Species that had never spoken to each other were now sharing stories and jokes. Emperor Zaelthek stood on a stage before thousands of beings from across the galaxy. He still looked imposing, but his Hawaiian shirt made him seem approachable. "My friends," he said, and his voice carried love instead of fear. "A year ago, I thought strength came from making others afraid. The humans taught me that real strength comes from making others happy." The crowd cheered. "Today, I am not your emperor," he continued. "Today, I am your friend. And that feels much better." Near the stage, former High Commander Vextar was teaching a group of human children how to sing Zephyrian folk songs. The songs were no longer about conquest and victory. Lady Nethys had written new ones about friendship and hope. Captain Morrison and Lady Nethys sat together, watching the celebration. "You know," Jake said, "when we first met your people, we thought they were funny." "We were funny," Lady Nethys said, smiling. "We took ourselves too seriously. And now? Now we know how to laugh," she said, "with friends instead of enemies." Admiral Clark walked by, arm in arm with Emperor Zaelthek. They were deep in conversation about plans for the next cultural exchange. Next month, the Emperor was saying, "I want to visit Earth. I have heard wonderful things about your oceans." "You'll love the beaches," Admiral Clark said. "Just remember to bring sunscreen." The festival continued late into the night. Music played, children ran around laughing, and adults from different worlds shared food and stories. For the first time in galactic history, peace was not just the absence of war. It was the presence of joy. And in the distance, both human and former Zephyrian ships floated together in space. Their lights twinkled like stars, and if you listened carefully, you could hear laughter echoing across the cosmos. The galaxy had learned to smile, and everyone agreed it was much better than frowning. Captain Morrison looked up at the night sky and chuckled. After all this time, the humans still found it funny that anyone had ever been afraid of friendship. But now, thankfully, no one was afraid anymore.